You ever noticed how the loudest battles aren't happening around you, they're happening inside you? You ever feel like your body keeps moving through the day, but your mind is dragging behind, bruised, cluttered, exhausted? Like no matter how hard you try to stay calm, something keeps pulling at you from the inside, old memories, old fears, old voices that don't even belong to you anymore? Slow inhale. Hold it. Now let it go. You don't lose control all at once. You leak it. You leak it in small moments. A thought you shouldn't entertain. A reaction you didn't need. A word you said when silence would have made you untouchable. And every time that happens, you feel it later in your chest, that tight pressure, that quiet regret. You tell yourself you'll do better next time. You promise yourself discipline. But next time comes, and your mind betrays you again. Let me tell you something most people will never admit. Your life is not shaped by your circumstances. It is shaped by what you allow to live rent-free in your head. Inhale. Exhale. You think power comes from muscles, money, influence, status. That's what they taught you. That's what keeps you chasing. But the most dangerous people you've ever met? They didn't look dangerous. They were calm, measured, silent. Nothing rushed them. Nothing rattled them. You could insult them and they'd smile. You could pressure them and they'd slow down. That's not confidence. That's mastery. And here's the part that stings. They weren't born that way. They trained their mind until it stopped flinching. You ever notice how easy it is for someone else to ruin your mood? One comment, one look, one memory, and suddenly your entire day bends around it. You replay it. You argue with ghosts in your head. You imagine comebacks you'll never use. Meanwhile, they've already moved on. They're living. They're sleeping. They're winning time you'll never get back. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. That's not sensitivity. That's mental weakness. And before you get offended, listen carefully. Weakness is not an insult. It's a diagnosis. And anything diagnosed can be treated. Your mind right now is like a crowded room where everyone is shouting orders at you. Society, family, past lovers, old enemies, younger versions of you that were scared and didn't know any better. And you keep trying to please all of them. No wonder you're tired. No wonder you feel split. No wonder you crave silence but don't know how to create it. Here's the secret they don't teach you because it would make you uncontrollable. You do not need to fight every thought. You need to dominate them. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Mastering your mind doesn't mean being positive all the time. That's a lie sold to fragile people. Real mastery is colder than that. It's choosing what deserves your energy and starving everything else. It's deciding, with brutal honesty, what thoughts are useful and which ones are emotional parasites. You stop reacting. You stop explaining. You stop trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. Let me tell you something about silence. Silence is not empty. Silence is loaded. When you don't respond immediately, you take control of the tempo. When you don't explain yourself, you force others to fill the gaps with their own insecurity. When you don't react emotionally, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. Slow inhale. Release. You were conditioned to believe your emotions deserve instant expression. That holding them back is unhealthy. That's only true if you don't know how to process them. But when you master your mind, you don't suppress emotions, you weaponize them. Anger becomes focus. Fear becomes alertness. Pain becomes memory. And memory becomes strategy. Think about it. Every mistake you regret wasn't because you didn't feel enough. It's because you felt too much, too fast, without control. You trusted before observing. You spoke before measuring. You reacted before thinking. And the world punished you for it. Not because it's cruel, but because it rewards composure. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. The moment you realize this, something shifts. You stop begging life to be fair. You start studying how it actually works. You notice patterns. You see how people reveal themselves when you stop filling the silence for them. You watch who gets uncomfortable when you don't chase. You learn who panics when you don't explain. And you realize most people are ruled by their impulses. That's why they're loud. That's why they overshare. That's why they seek validation like oxygen. When you master your mind, you don't need to announce your strength. It leaks out naturally. In your posture. In your pacing. In your refusal to be rushed. Breath in. Breath out. This is where discipline stops being about motivation and starts being about identity. You don't wake up asking how you feel. You wake up deciding who you are. And that version of you doesn't negotiate with weakness. That version doesn't chase comfort. That version understands something crucial: comfort is a sedative. It numbs ambition. It dulls awareness. It keeps you small enough to manage. Master your mind, and discomfort becomes familiar. Silence becomes comforting. Solitude becomes productive. You stop fearing being alone with your thoughts, because you've trained them to obey. Let me be very clear with you now. Your mind is either your sharpest weapon, or your most reliable enemy. There is no neutral. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Every time you say, "I can't stop thinking," what you really mean is, "I've never learned how to command." And command requires authority. Authority over the self is built through repetition. Through doing what you said you would do, especially when you don't feel like it. Especially when no one is watching. Especially when quitting would be easier. That's why most people never master their mind. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel motivated. You don't wait. You move first. Feeling follows action, not the other way around. You ever notice how disciplined people don't look rushed? They don't look frantic. They move with a quiet certainty. That's because their internal world is organized. There's a hierarchy inside them. Logic at the top. Emotion in its place. Ego kept on a leash. Slow breath. Release. Here's another truth you might not like. Not every thought deserves respect. Not every emotion deserves a response. Some thoughts are leftovers from a weaker version of you. Some emotions are echoes of situations that no longer exist. If you treat every internal signal as urgent, you'll live in permanent reaction mode. And reaction is slavery. Mastery is choice. Choice of focus. Choice of meaning. Choice of response. You stop asking, "Why am I like this?" and start asking, "What is this useful for?" If it's not useful, you let it pass. No drama. No story. No identity built around it. Just gone. Inhale. Exhale. At first, this feels unnatural. Your mind will resist. It will try to pull you back into old loops. It will remind you of past failures. It will whisper doubts at the worst possible moments. That's not a sign you're failing. That's a sign you're changing. The mind hates losing control. It will test you before it submits. And when you hold your ground, something powerful happens. The noise fades. The urgency dissolves. You feel space between stimulus and response. In that space, you become dangerous. Because now, you act instead of react. You choose instead of impulse. You observe instead of absorb. Deep inhale. Slow exhale. This is the point where people start to feel you before they hear you. They can't explain it, but something about you feels grounded. Unmovable. Like pushing against stone. You don't need to dominate conversations. Your presence does the work. You don't chase respect. You become undeniable. Mastering your mind also means mastering attachment. You stop clinging to outcomes. You stop needing approval. You stop fearing loss. Because you understand this simple, brutal truth, anything you can't let go of can be used to control you. So you practice detachment. Not because you don't care, but because you care strategically. You invest energy where it compounds. You withdraw where it drains. You don't announce your boundaries. You enforce them quietly. Inhale. Exhale. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, life responds. Opportunities come to you instead of you begging for them. People treat you with more caution. More respect. Some will drift away. Let them. That's the cost of evolution. Weak connections break when strength appears. By now, you can feel it. That calm settling in your chest. That sense of internal order. This isn't hype. This isn't motivation. This is alignment. This is what happens when your thoughts stop fighting each other and start serving you. Remember this. You don't master your mind once. You master it daily. Every choice. Every pause. Every breath. Slow inhale. Long exhale. So the next time something tries to provoke you, don't rush. The next time doubt knocks, don't panic. The next time emotion surges, don't obey immediately. Pause. Breathe. Choose. That pause is where your power lives. That breath is where control returns. That choice is where the old you dies and something colder, sharper, more deliberate takes its place. You don't need to announce this transformation. You don't need validation. You don't need applause. Let the results speak. Let the silence work. Let your composure unsettle those who thrive on chaos. Master your mind, and everything else follows. Final inhale. Final exhale. Now move. Quietly. Deliberately. Unstoppable.